All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to Sister Soul on the main radio. We are going to be going over a couple of things today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully you guys will give me a moment. All right, guys, bear with me here. We are going to be talking about a few things today, guys. I am hoping to be able to. Forgive me. All right, guys. I'm hoping that we're going to have a pretty quality show today. I did have to put my thing together, guys. I did have a few things I wanted to talk about. I know that I wanted to talk about being a Moor, being Indigenous. People are hung up on these titles, the Moor, the Indigenous, the so many different titles that we need to just not worry about or focus on the titles because it doesn't matter about a title. What we need to understand is there is just one source, one of everything. That's just us. The energy, light portal that we are. When you think about all these different names and uh, along the same lines as racism, we're thinking about the things that infiltrate our mind and separate us from truth, separate us from light, separate us from information, separate us from the knowledge that we get in general when it comes to pretty much everything around us that is in the physical. We got to learn to stay away from the physical and focus on the spiritual aspect, stand on the realms that are positive energy, most fluent vibrations that are uh, the frequencies that are beneficial to our entire being, as far as uplifting, creating densities, and certain things of that nature. So, what we have to do is try to make sure that we are focusing on. So what I wanted to do is make sure that you guys are paying attention to a few things that we have going on right now in the atmosphere. I want to talk. No, actually, let's go and focus on what's going on right now. We had something very funny to me. If you remember on our Facebook page, the Sister Soul Main Radio Facebook page, go to a post I posted 2 years ago, January the 13th, on Melanated Mondays radio show. And there was a post of a video I did that day on the show. And on the show, we were talking about the impeachment of Trump. So it's amazing that on the same day, January the 13th, the 13th, which is one of these days they have on these conspiracy theorists. I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I hear that a lot, the 13th. So this is a day that 2 years ago exactly, they were threatening to impeach him. Amazingly, it's less than a week away and he's about to be out of the office anyway, so I don't really comprehend or understand why they're wanting him to do that. But either way, it's kind of amazing. So what I want to do is make sure you know that everything that we do, everything that we do is going to be beneficial to our system when it comes to our health, when it comes to what's going on with our system, so on and so forth. Um, so when it comes to the Hebrew, Israel, the Moors, and so on and so forth, these are all derivative from the ancient Naga Myan tribes. So the Naga Mayan tribes are the tribes that migrated all over. Some were called Moors, some were the indigenous ones that settled in different areas and different places. Some of them continued to travel over the years, thousands of years, so on and so forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then they had the Spaniards and the Filipinos and the Mexicans. There were different infiltrations of different races, so on and so forth. Another story on a different show. But after all these different infiltrations, there came the mixing and the confusion of what was going on with the different races. So first, they had the indigenous tribes confused to their whereabouts or actually what was going on, because during the time that they were doing everything that they needed to do, they were infiltrated by the Colombians, Christopher Columbus, and his era. So when the distinction of the indigenous in the area came about, the infiltration of the information of the stories of past times that they wanted to put into their minds. This is where the spellings, a few shows ago, we were talking about the spells. I want you guys to understand a little bit about the spells and spelling. That's because this is where the spelling came in, where everyone was infiltrated with the lies and the confusions of their history, their ancestry, who they were, what they were, where they came from, so on and so forth. During this time, the discovery of information, the discovery of information on the, how can I say, the ancestral information and everything that came down from our ancestors from far, far, far away. We talking about like trillions of, eons away. So when we have, with this information that was passed down, they contributed to changing things and taking the information to use it for their benefit. Taking that information, transpiring it to what they wanted it to be, using it for their benefit, taking it to do things against us. Once learning and understanding more about our ancestry and our roots and our the different what do you call it, the traits or whatever that we bring down from our ancestors and roots. After all of those things have happened, those stories continue to change and migrate to different stories and so on and so forth. So during this time, um, they decided to take the children and make them believe the African stories, and everyone came from Africa, everyone's from Africa, so on and so forth. They had some slaves from Africa, yes. They had white slaves, they had Filipino slaves, they had Mexican slaves. There are a lot of mix and mingling of the different races. Therefore, the Hebrews, they were all grouped together, and I believe that's a part of where that comes from, or at least, one part of where that story comes from. So they were all infiltrated at that time and using their information against them as far as the chemistry of the body, uh, the way things were done in their, with their medicines and their roots, and just finding out everything about the ancestry, their spiritual beliefs, their religion. So taking all of the religion and spiritual beliefs, they were in their astrological information, they were able to take that information, use it against us in a way of understanding different ways that our bodies reacted or was familiar with certain things, or, so on and so forth. When it comes to the light aspect, the one thing that I will say is that we we are living in an electric universe. I'm gonna kind of start there. Let's get more into the spiritual stuff because I'm kind of drifting back and forth. I'm having a lot of distraction right now. There's something going on in the other room, and just a little bit distracted. But in a minute, it'll be a little bit quieter now. So basically, I'm going to start with information on what's going on currently, guys. So right now we live in, I'm going to try to break this down. And I got a few notes here. I'm going to try and stay in order so I don't talk too much on certain things or kind of drift off. You guys know I kind of forget certain topics. I'm talking about one thing and then I got like 3 or 4 things in my mind. I'm going to drift off and, hey, I'll try and bring it back. But either way, we live in an electric universe, and that consists of organic materials. Let's say that. When it comes to that, I'm going to relate us. You are the universe. You are in the earth, in motion and moving, so on and so forth. So we live in an electric universe that consists of organic materials. The organic material is plasma in the organ energy. Okay. So with the plasma orgon energy, this is what creates the electricity, which we are pretty much electricity. So let's talk about that real quick. When it comes to the plasma and the orgon energy. When it comes to the plasma, orgon energy, and electricity, we have this in our body, don't we? We have the plasma, the orgon energy is our spirit, that is the energy, spirit, light body within us. And the plasma, we know it's in our blood, right? So these two things create the electricity basically in our bodies, what you could say. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, excuse me. So it creates the electricity. So when it comes to that, let's talk a little bit about the relations to the organ energy and how it relates to our body as well when it comes to solarly. Solarly, it actually comes through black holes from stars. What happens is the substance from the energy gets trapped in these like atomic magnetic fields. They're like these octagon shaped, circular shapes. The way the macabre uh, is shaped. You can kind of look at that. So the macabre is that's it's the circle, then there's like 5 circles around the circle, then there's like another 6 around that. There's lines that connect it, intertwine, and so on and so forth, that shows you the energy in motion, basically, if you haven't seen that or understand what it is. So basically, when it comes to that, the energy gets trapped in those little atomic magnetic fields, because they're all magnetic fields. All of the lines, each and every one, is a different magnetic field. So obviously with magnets, how they attract each other, they're pulling, and it's like a gravitational pull. So that's kind of what's going on in that. So kind of like picture that. Physical matter is basically just is atomic magnetic field that has the energy trapped within it in the same way, but it's like more condensed. I'll say it that way. So when we think of the orgon energy and the way that it is in that subatomic magnetic field and how it circulates and radiates and goes back and forth, so on and so forth. What happens is with the physical matter, it gets very, 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 very condensed. And that causes that orgon energy. So depending on the type of energy, the way that it is, gonna get more and more dense. Okay, so let's stay there. So so the pores. Let's get back to the pores. That's what I was gonna say. The pores. So with our pores, you have to think. when you look at your pore, you can see the pore because it's very dark. So you would think that's like something like a black hole, okay? So pores represent the black hole. It's pure ether energy that comes out of our pores. When you sweat, it comes out your pores. It's, because the energy is created, so on and so forth. So pores represent the black holes, so that, like I said, and think of that the same way as the black holes that are in the stars, where the energy escapes, comes around, just like the torus field in our body that comes and circles us, comes out at the top of our head, comes around, and same thing with our feet, comes back in our feet. There's like this circular tube that surrounds us. That's our aura energy field. And that's the one we've talked about before that causes breaks in your energy field, which can cause you to have certain weaknesses in things or whatever, breakages in your energy field. So basically, when it condenses to like a liquid and a solid, and sometimes that can form together. The liquid and the solid makes like a gas, and this is kind of like crystallization aspect. And this is why, sometimes when you sweat, it's like that sweaty, like if it comes on your lip, like if your face is sweating or something, it absolutely, I know everybody's tasted some sweat. So that's kind of what that is. That's the crystallization process, and it's coming through the pores, which is the same way, like I said, from the stars. It represents those black holes, so on and so forth. So same way as like another example is the neurons. The neurons in the brain um, has energies that flows from it, in the same way that the stars and planets, the planets or what have you, as they call them, the planet star, whatever. So there's a certain energy or magnetic field that flows from each star, and they circulate between each other. That's why when you see stars, they're kind of in a group a lot of times, so on and so forth. You see them like that because of that reason. And that's the same thing that happens with our brain. The energy is fluctuating and going up and down, and the neurons in our brain are working, and energy's flowing, and so on and so forth, and that's what's happening. So that's the same relations to us, you, and the universe. Just want to make sure I'm reminding you guys we're kind of relating things too. So what happens is it moves magnetically. The waves and vibrations that are within us, right? They're moving through electromagnetic force and energy in our body that's created by the energy force in our body, which is the light energy, which is the photon energy that comes from photosynthesis, depending on what you're eating, things of that nature, the amount of sun you're taking in, if you're getting that type of energy, so on and so forth. Now, we can also communicate via meditation with other life forms via the plasma, like stars, planets, things of that nature, because they are plasma. So if you're able to get yourself to a state of being, excuse me, guys, I'm sorry. And I know I sound a little bit dry because I am so freaking tired today, but I want to make sure I talk to you guys about some of this information. I was actually going to wait because I know I said we weren't going to go live to after the 15th, but since I got everything up and going, I decided, hey, I'm going to go live. So I know my audience probably isn't uh, everybody's here today, but I'll get this caught up so you guys will be able to catch this off the site. I got to get so many downloads to our engineering guy so he can upload it on the site. So the ones that you guys have missed or what have you, you can go back and listen to them. I even have a lot of the Melanated Mondays shows. I'll actually probably have him upload a few of those, at least a few of the my favorites, so on and so forth. Anyway, back to that. I'm gonna get back to communicating. Oh, excuse me, guys, via meditation, because I want to talk a little bit about the dream state as well when it comes to that. Okay. So the magnetic fields, let me give you a little summary of it. It creates optical illusions, okay? So we talked before about the waveform information. I have to give a great thanks to gentleman, Mr. Wisdom Seeker. I kept saying the waveform information is actually waveform. I kept thinking that it was the way that it forms the information in your mind. So I just named it in my own head waveform. But because it is a waveform, but it's actually called the waveform if you guys want to look that up. If I mentioned that and you were looking for the information and couldn't find it, I really do apologize. I definitely wanted to correct that. I was so glad to get corrected on that information, and yeah, it is the waveform information. So the waveform information, that's argon energy, that is trapped in substance, the the substance that is the subatomic magnetic field. And what it is it's light photons, and when they meet, they create the neutrinos. So in relation to our body, I'm gonna try to make sure I'm not going on and on about this and I don't make sure I relate to the body. So let's go back to that a little bit. So when we're thinking about that, the light photons, when they meet and they create neutrinos, when it comes to our body, the magnetic field creates optical illusions, right? And the waveform information is actually the argon energy, okay? And the same as in our body, the waveform information is processed within our brain through our neurons, as we just talked about, okay? The neurons in the brain relates to the same way that energy flows from star to star, from planet to planet, right? So when you think about that, the orgone energy that's trapped in that subatomic magnetic field is light photons. And these are the photons that we consume or take in that gives us energy via plant food, plant life, things of that nature. Okay, so let me stay focused. So we're going to get back to this now. So when they meet, like I said, they create the neutrino. So when they meet in our body, they create a gas aspect as well, which is enlightenment and crystallization in the mind state, which gives you a lighter spirit or a lighter crown. Let's say it like that. Okay. And when they come together, they create the atoms. And then the atoms, they create the subatomic structure. Okay, so let's think of it as, do you remember the structure I told you about with that the orgone energy gets trapped into those subatomic magnetic fields, right? So remember, these atoms, they come together and then they create that structure. So this is how we see the physical, things come into the physical in our mind. The subatomic structures that we take in via our senses, they actually create the waveform information in our mind, the same way that this creates the optical illusion in the solar system and the energy that's created by the light sources and stars that we see, which the sun and so on and so forth. Um, Physical matter um, is condensed into the subatomic magnetic field. So keep that in mind, okay? And there's 13 orbs, okay? So just keep it in mind. If you want to picture it in your mind so you can understand it, 13 orbs is this energy, just, so you understand that. So as I said, when we can communicate, remember I was trying to tell you guys earlier about the meditation, so on and so forth. And just now, when I just said how the neurons in our brain have the same energy flow from stars to stars and, so on and so forth. And this is all through the plasma. Now, we communicate via meditation with other life forms via this same plasma. If you tune into what's going on and you collect enough photosynthesis into your system, and then you're meditating, you would actually be able to take yourself to a lighter state by mentally, spiritually allowing your light body to escape and ascend to another realm via the traveling. This is where the traveling, the time traveling, space traveling comes in. Via the traveling on those actual photons. It's kind of like riding on the photons, riding on the, on that wave. You just riding on it, and then you just go to another realm where it would be you in a whole nother place, a no whole nother energy, a whole nother something. I know you've had times and places where you've been like, dang, it seems like I've done this before. Man, this seems like I remember this happening, or we were there before, so on and so forth. That happens because a lot of times you have been there before. I know the stuff I say sound crazy, guys, but this shit I just I'm just trying to put y'all on. That's all I can say. So the photons and the energy that is created is what you can actually pull on. Now, when we dream, I don't want to get away from talking about this. I'm going to get back to it definitely. But when we dream, what happens is we dream and it takes us to a lighter aspect in our mind because we start to create the gas aspect in our brains. And it's just like we can actually float, float, float. You know that dang, I wish I could remember the song, but it was a or who it was, but they were like float, 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 float on. Float on, float on. If you're not old school, you're not gonna know that song, but that was what they were kind of talking about. Basically being able to ascend or, lift yourself to another realm or another frequency or another dimension. All these different things, because we're kind of stuck and trapped into a 3D realm. We'll get into that as well. Um, I'm so sorry, guys. You really gotta excuse me. Okay, so we exist in different realms simultaneously through this energy. This is why we're able to do that. So keep that in mind. We exist on different cliffs, different realms in this organ energy. We can actually ascend to different areas if you're able to focus your energy and know what to do and mentally time travel. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've never done it. I've studied this stuff for years. I am scared as heck to try some of the stuff that I mean, some of the stuff I'm not gonna even tell y'all because I wouldn't put out there, but I'm so afraid to try some of this stuff because I have all of my children and my grandchildren here, my family, and so on and so forth. So I wouldn't say that I'm scared because I know that everything that I discover is showing me certain things, but I am just not ready to escape this particular time in my life. I don't feel like I've done everything I need to do so far. And by that time, though, I would know exactly what to do. Um, I just wanted to put that out there. So I'm going to repeat that um, we exist in different realms, guys, and simultaneously, it's always through this organ energy that we're able to float through different realities through, depending on the density or the condensity of your mental mind state. Um, what else did I want to say? Ooh, excuse me. So when matter is first formed, that's when the plasma is made, guys. Plasma is a mover of energy and information as well. I'm going to tap into that real quick. Let me go back into that. So, plasma is a mover of energy. So, you have to think if it moves energy, like I said, you can float through different dimensions, so on and so forth. Time traveling, ascending, ascension is definitely something you could do if you get into this and really, take yourself there. So, basically, plasma is a mover of the energy and the information, a transporter basically of energy. You know, I'm gonna tell you something else. uh, with plasma, right? When I was talking about, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. With plasma, when I was talking about the organ energy, right? The highest or one of the highest forms of organ energy is through or via sexual orgasm. If you're a visitor on my page, I've talked to you guys about the Kundalini energy. You can look that up. I'm not going to get into talking about all of it, but it has to do with the organ energy being manifested. There are different religious practices where they literally just, this is all they do. And it's not about a sexual thing, it's about getting to that state mentally and getting that energy and taking it to a higher realm. So, yeah, if you want to look that up, look up the Kundalini energy. It's just KUDALUNI. Kundalini, yeah. So the Kundalini energy is something that you get from the Oregon energy when it's at its like one of its highest peaks. So, that's why I always talk about that and I always say, hey, it's not good to give your energy to anybody, sharing yourself, giving of yourself, just laying with people. If you're in a relationship, definitely, do all you can do. Enjoy yourself. I can't tell you because hey, when I'm in one, it's on. But when you're getting to that space, it actually just releases so much of that energy. It will literally like wipe you out, like wipe you out. Some people knock you like right off your feet, literally. Another thing that it does, guys, I'm so sorry. I will end up ending this show early because I am really freaking tired. Okay, another thing it does, it gives light the appearance of matter by the frequency vibration. This is what the waveform information does as well. It's the same thing. The orgone energy, which is what consumes the entire earth. We're in an etheric realm. This is what we live in, guys. Period. 3D etheric realm. So the orgone energy vibrates at a very high frequency. It's like vibrating high and it's moving, so on and so forth at a frequency that you can feel it, but you can't see it. It's invisible to the eye, but definitely, you can feel it. Stars are living energy just like us. They have the same components that we have. We are like stardust and us compared to the same thing, believe it or not. Carbon. Oh, excuse me, guys. I'm really so freaking sorry. This is like horrible of me. um, okay, let me say this. Okay, so stars are living energy. We are living energy. Those are two comparisons for us in the universe. Same thing. Um, we have an aura, right? We have a Taurus field. Our chakra aligns with everything, right? That's the same thing that's going on in the solar system. Their electromagnetic, the electromagnetic field that surrounds the sun is the same as the aura, just like us, right? If you guys have ever heard of or seen the area bolas, the aurora bolas, how you pronounce that? Aurora borealis is what it is. Yes, 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 that's it. The aurora borealis. That name is just so freaking conflicting for me. There's also one in Australia. This is where I believe that human souls are born into the universe. And when they're deceased, they're trying to escape at this time. New souls are born and reincarnated, so on and so forth. The light frequencies, the rays, the colors, the frequencies, the way they move. This shows nothing but life and souls and everything through the plasma ray frequency that you see in the aurora borealis. Okay. And that's because that is the North Pole, and then the South Pole is Australia, I believe. And that's, or I might have it mixed up, guys. I'm so bad geographically. When I'm talking about certain things, I know what I'm talking about, but don't get me to quote the when it comes to geographical stuff. But I believe the aurora boreal is in the north and that the Australian one's in the south pole. Okay, so there's that electromagnetic energy that's going in and out of the earth. So this is where they're trying to escape but cannot. This is due to the negative energy of the moon. Well, okay, wait, we're not going into that right now. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So there's a black hole under the sun that is pure organ ether energy, just like our organ energy within our body. And what happens is the energy, how can I say, it like goes through the if you look at a so-called picture of the sun, they do have live pictures of the sun. If you look at a picture of the sun, you'll see there's like a dark area at the top and at the bottom. This is where it's like going in, coming out. The same thing as like that soft spot in the top of our heads and the soles of our feet, which is where everything escapes. Things come in the top and they escape through the soles of our feet. We can actually consume things through the soles of our feet as well, as far as protons and uh, nutrient minerals that we can derive from the ground by standing barefoot, being planted for about an hour and a half a day. You'll take in so many positive uh, protons that they will actually eliminate negative protons and things from your body. Okay. So back to this, what was I gonna say? So anyway, the black hole in the sun, right? So the black hole under the sun is pure organic energy, and the electromagnetic vortex. Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. The electromagnetic vortex, the energy, when it comes through the sun, it becomes plasma, basically. Just like when energy goes through our body, it becomes plasma. It energizes our blood and gives it energy, so on and so forth. It's the same thing that's going on with the sun. The sun's organ energy is stronger than like nuclear power. So that's the same thing as our body. Our souls have that same power. That's why that Boreal, Borealis looks so beautiful. All those souls are just like, suffering, but they're just floating through, nowhere to go, can't escape through that etheric um, field because of the emittance of what's going on with the moon. So basically, like I said, it's the same as us. You have to look at it and compare it. Like I said, it comes through us in the same thing as our auras, the same thing that's going on with the sun. So you have to think of that way. So the sun's organ energy is stronger than the nuclear power. Ours is stronger than nuclear power, stronger than uh anything, just like the stars. We are pure organ energy. We're ether, etheric, chai energy, living, walking, talking, ether, chai energy. So when energy heats up, it turns into plasma. The same thing happens when a person, their spirit does the same thing. Once you get to a certain higher level and you get a certain Christos or Christos spirit in your mind, there's a gas aspect that your brain will create from that plasma and that gas aspect in your brain. And this is where the physical realm that you're living in, you would actually be able to ascend from and go into the etheric realm via the plasma light energy in your body. So this all happens when the sun gets the solar flares. This is how we get the orgone energy that escapes from the sun by the solar eruptions. Those eruptions when it look like something hitting it and it's like getting splattered. That's kind of what it looks like. So at that time, the plasma energy goes through the Earth's magnetic field. Um, of the poles, and then when that happens, the Earth magnetic field um it gets very dense. The same thing that happens with the body and the aura. you know, if you're getting the wrong type of energy coming through as well, you're gonna have those issues. If you're having some positive stuff going on, you're gonna have the increase. Oh gosh, I'm getting tired, y'all. I'm sorry. You're gonna get. I was up really late last night. I'm so sorry. You're gonna have those things going on. I'm getting so distracted in my thought. I'm sorry, guys. Here's why I did not want to get to talking too much about one thing. I'm kind of going all over the place. So the physical life forms, all souls, human, animals, and everything, get the energy and life from the orgone energy. And the lighter photons give the illusion of matter and plasma in the human body, just like those waves do with us. Plasma is condensed orgone energy once again, and the plasma energy creates entity or new life and new souls that are born on the earth via that energy that comes in. It settles basically into the earth's atmosphere. We consume those things. Once we consume those things, this is how the energy is implanted in us, and that light energy actually creates life within us. Okay, earth has natural and unnatural magnetic field. The sun also emits a natural magnetic field. There's like three different fields around it. Um, the sun is emitting solar onto our earth via the plasma photons, and it's absorbed by us, with the energy and photosynthesis. The moon is very unnatural. It traps souls in the magnetic field, and this is why they always referring to that Saturn moon is the matrix, because the moon is actually what's unnaturally keeping us in that realm, in the etheric realm. Right now the sun's about 14 million degrees and it's steadily heating up. It's getting rid of that fake etheric uh field that the moon is emitting negatively, and it's actually burning it out. This is why China has emitted a new moon um in the last few months. They've been putting all these trillions of dollars into creating a new moon. How would they know that the moon was dying and that they needed to create a new moon? Why would they be doing that? What's the purpose of it? Whether they need the light energy source from? It just doesn't make any common sense, guys. Um, just remember that hydrogen is the condensed um, into the helium, and the like, what is the nuclear gases release the energy from the sun's core, and it kind of like pushes it out. And this is how we're getting this plasma that is emitted. And this is where the energy is coming from the planets aligning right now in this solar energy that everybody's been experiencing. More people becoming enlightened, getting ideas, stronger minds, so on and so forth. All this stuff is, created because it helps with our actual bodies and uh, our physical life and the way that we're living. There's an outer layer on the earth. I'm not the earth, I'm sorry, on the sun, that moves via like these connected cells that create this magnetic field. And it's only the components that, are ether, the orgone, trapped energy. And this stuff moves, the energy moves past Mercury and all these other areas. Earth has four energy bands, like I said, three organic ones, one non-organic one. That moon energy just keeps the plasma energy on this earth. And the earth's blue mist is trapped souls. That's what we're seeing all the time. It's like a fourth band that that keeps trapping it in. It's like pulling it in like a rubber band. Every time it tries to escape, it pulls it back in. It tries to escape, it pulls it back in. It's like I'm going to put some pictures up on the site if you guys want to look at that. Souls are basically just light energy bodies. There are there's two different energies being emitted, from the north and the south poles, and these are um what's going on with the borealis. Like I said, the aurora borealis, they're in the north, and then there's the Australian ones as well that are down in the south. So it's going in, coming out, going in, coming out, getting trapped, going in, going out. Earth is just a 3D shaped object. You know, people keep arguing about this round Earth, flat Earth. That's another thing that just like is so annoying because it's like, come on, we got to figure out what's going on and what we're living in, on, around, within us, so on and so forth. The Earth is just a 3D shaped object. So you know, come from black holes from the stars that it's just plasma photon energy that's been condensed and create atoms that create the physical that we are. The sun gives souls this energy and the life. This is why we're energized by the sun. We're connected. We're part of it. You know, the extra layer that's being covered over us from the moon is just, you know, it's all false stuff that should not be happening. You know, it's not natural. It's all unnatural. The sun was soul, plasma, pieces of the soul, organic energy. This is what they used to call in ancient times soul, SOL. That's what the sun was called because it releases that plasma energy, pieces of the soul, organic energy on this earth. Um, Back in time, the uh, the higher gods taught dark alchemy to humanity, and this is the problem that we're having, and you know some of the things that are going on. Um, yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna end right now. I know we've got about 15 minutes, and yeah, we'll end it a little early. I will play some music for you guys. I think I am. I'm gonna end this right quick so I can get you guys a little bit of my favorites.